Hello, candle lovers. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Greg, and this is all about candles. Let's get right into today's Halloween candle review for you. I just finished up Handbook for the recently deceased. This is a Goose Creek candle from their Beetlejuice collaboration sort of collection here that they did for Halloween. I really liked a lot of these candles, although I've only gotten around so far to burning 3 of them. I like the way that they all smelled on cold, and I think that they did a really neat job of tying in concepts from the movie with candle fragrances. And so Handbook for the recently deceased is kind of a plot point in the story where I believe that if you are undead and you come back from the dead, sort of, or if you're like a ghost haunting the earth now, if you read the Handbook for the recently deceased, you'll now be able to like speak with and interact with living people. It's such a weird movie. I actually really enjoy it. I haven't gotten around to seeing the new one yet, Beetlejuice. Has anyone seen that one yet? Is it any good? Let me know in the comments below if I should like make some time to do it. I'm usually not super impressed with like reboots and stuff like that, but I don't know. I might be interested in that one because I thought the original movie was so like campy and spooky and funny. The scent notes on Handbook for the recently deceased: vintage leather binding, aged paper, and dusty cedar wood. Oh, I really love this candle, you guys. I've talked about this a lot, like during, the Halloween season on my channel, but my favorite types of Halloween candles are candles that are a little bit weird and dark and spooky, but without being a total gross fest, you know what I mean? And I think that all these Beetlejuice candles really kind of accomplish that, maybe with the exception of like Maitland House, which was just a floral candle, and Strange and Unusual was basically like a gourmand banana candle. But all of the other candles from this collection were like doing a great job of walking that line between being like spooky but also appealing. And yeah, this one definitely comes across like maybe like an old library. You know how old library books smell? Oh, I love the smell of old books. I know that's weird, but I do. It's a fairly mid to higher range candle. It sits a little bit higher in the range than you'd think that this would. You'd think it would be very like bassy, but it's actually got a little bit of sort of a lightness and an airiness to it. And on the top, I think I pick up on that leather note the most. And then you do have this sort of, what wood do they say? They say cedar wood. They say dusty cedar wood. I think that dusty cedar wood and the aged paper note sort of go hand in hand. It's almost a little bit like, a wood chip note. Did you ever have like a hamster or a mouse in like a cage with all those wood chips? I get a little bit of that, but without all of the other smells that come with having a rodent in a cage. First, I mostly pick up on like a woodsy leather note. And yeah, given the concept of the candle, you can certainly get there in your brain that this is supposed to be like an old dusty book. I wish that these hadn't sold out so quickly because there are a couple that I would have really liked to have repurchased. But yeah, no, I feel like this candle was a success. The burn did get a little bit questionable towards the end. So yeah, moving on to performance, I'd say that the first 2/3 of it burned pretty much perfectly. Strength and throw was probably a 7. I'd say it was a solid 7, and that's in my more open area, which is where I kept it the entire time I had it. So a 7 in an open area is a pretty good mark for me. However, the last third of the candle definitely got a little bit murky, a little bit sooty, and a little bit messy. So I would like blow it out, let it cool, trim the wicks, try it again the next day. And I could burn it, once I got down to about 2/3, I could burn it for about an hour or so without noticing like any soot or murkiness. You can actually see around the edges towards the bottom there that the wax pools got a little dark and black and kind of stained the edges of like the glass jar there. So I wish that this had been a little bit of a cleaner burn on the last third, but we talk about this all the time with a 3-wick candle from Bath & Body Works or Goose Creek. Oftentimes you can really only count on the first 2/3 of the candle doing really well. I guess that's just like where we're at, so I've kind of gotten used to it. I could relight it towards the end for about an hour before it started getting icky again, but once the entire thing had liquefied, I just decided to call it a day. I felt like most of the fragrance oil had sort of been released anyways, so yeah, overall, I don't have any major complaints about this candle, but I liked it so much, I really would have preferred to have like burned it all the way down to the bottom, but you know, it is what it is, right? That's all I have for you folks today. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm doing a Halloween candle review every day until Halloween this week, so stay tuned for that. I'll be back tomorrow with another one, and until next time, my dear, gorgeous, and beautiful candle-loving friends, let's burn some candles and bitch about it. Thanks, folks. Bye now.